Well, hello, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages. I am back without a co-host today. However, I have someone super cool because, look, I've been reading a lot of stuff lately online. We're back at the point where bands are starting to complain about the costs of touring and this and that and this and that. And so I figured, look, I have a little bit of insight in it as someone that books bands here and there. And my guest today was Mr. Paul Speckmann. How you doing today, Paul?
I'm doing fine. Good afternoon. Like I said, a little bit of snow, but just mainly rain. Not so bad where you are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got a snow fucking apocalypse out there. But
it's crazy.
hey, look, the reason I wanted to have Paul on, and if for those of you that don't know, is Paul's pretty much a DIY person. He's been doing it himself. He sells his own merch. When you buy stuff online, you're buying it from him himself. And I figured, look, if there was anyone to come on and talk about, how you can tour and not go in fucking debt, it's the man that's been doing it for quite some time. So, Paul, look, let's talk about this first. You just did a tour of America not too long ago, right?
Okay,
And
you got,
no, no, go ahead.
it was like, I think it was supposed to be 25 shows.
Right.
And there was a small part of the tour got canceled because we played a festival. Let's leave it at that. So I don't
Yeah.
want to go back into that.
No, of
But
course
anyway,
not.
but yeah, I just did a tour and I paid my guys for their shows, obviously, every day.
Right.
And actually I did something special since you actually mentioned the US tour. On this tour, I did a special deal with the guys and actually included them in the merchandise this time.
Wow.
So they made a little bit more money. I never did that before.
Yeah,
This was special. I cut it, what did I do? I think it was 35, no, it's maybe, let's see, 30, I think it was like 30, 30, 40.
wow,
So
cool.
what I did is I gave them, like I said, 30 and 30% of the show and 30% of the merch. You know?
Right. And look, there are people that probably don't quite understand that. And it's like this. You don't always give your band a cut of the merch because basically you're the one that's paying for the merch yourself. You don't have a merch company. So you do everything yourself. So it's nothing that, you know what I mean? It people that don't know, you are your merch person.
Yeah.
You're the person
Yeah.
that's sitting at the table selling stuff every night.
And that's how it was in America too.
Right.
Let's just say it this way, the guitar player kind of pushed me into it this time, sort of before I went there. Oh,
Right.
maybe you could include us in the merch. And I thought to myself, maybe he's right this time. Let's give it a try because maybe everyone tries a little harder then. I mean, in the end, I still ended up doing all the merch. So they come
Sure.
over sometimes for a few minutes or whatever, so I could go to the bathroom or whatever, which was fine.
Right.
They did cover a few times.
Right.
Nothing like I would have expected getting
Sure.
that part of the merch.
Sure. Sure.
But in the end, whatever. Everybody made a little bit more money. I made a little bit less because I gave them part of my merch money. Okay.
Right.
But it doesn't matter. In the end, the band itself generated enough money to pay for the merch. Like I took the merch money that I put into it in the beginning back out, as well. And
Sure.
I still paid them their percentage. So everybody actually did, I think, a little bit better than in the past. So this was a good thing, you
Sure.
know?
And you look, so a lot of bands, younger bands, when they think of touring, they think of these big nightliners. And obviously you've done nightliner tours. However, when you just did America, you guys did it in RV, right?
Yeah, it was our first time in RV again. It was Pat, the guitar player's idea. And you know what? It was a great idea.
Right.
There
Right.
was plenty of room in the RV. There was only four of us,
Sure.
a driver, and three band members. And there was like a double bed on top for the two guys and me and Rustin in the back. And it really worked out well.
Right.
You could actually cook in there. I mean, honestly, we didn't cook very often in the RV. A couple of late nights or whatever, we're making sausages and potatoes and things like that. But
Sure.
honestly, we didn't use the camper for cooking very much. You could do that.
Right.
And like when we had a day off, we tried to barbecue outside when it was possible. But sometimes, we had to use the camper. But this was a good way to travel and more. It was, I think, more inexpensive in a sense. Obviously, an underground band like Massacre can't afford a bus. I've never toured on a bus in America. I've
Right,
never been that lucky. So you
right.
guys are out there that are touring in buses in America. Well, good for you. I never did it. Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, the point to basically what people don't understand a lot of times is that buses cost a good chunk of change, do they not?
Yes, and that's what a friend of mine was just talking about how I was talking about earlier about maybe a possible tour at the end of the year. He was saying maybe this time it'll be a van tour with hotels. And
Right.
I actually mentioned that to the guys in my band, and drummer Peter said to me, Paul, it really doesn't matter. He said because last time on our tour with MAD, for example, we had that van tour, and um, we stayed in hotels and the hotels were quite fine, but it
Yeah.
was usually a good breakfast in the morning as well. I mean, the hotels were really all right.
Right.
Okay, I like the idea of the bus because you can lay down and sleep whenever you want. And
Right.
obviously when you have a hotel, you got to wait till everything's packed up and put away and go. That
Right.
can be difficult,
Sure.
but economical.
Yeah. And I mean, I think
That's
that's
the key
more
word, economical, right?
economical. Oh, well, I mean, that's the point. I don't know if that's, I don't know how much that happens in the States, but in Europe, it's pretty normal. I mean, especially for like festivals and stuff that I mean, if you're booking, a band at a festival, you're usually getting a couple hotel rooms, because
Yeah,
it makes everything easier, right?
I agree. It's the way to go.
And, it's
And
it's
then,
cheap.
when you're going on these, on a lot of times on these bus tours, you're going with a merchandiser as well. So right there, that's going to take a big percentage of your money.
Right.
They want like 15 or 20%. And let's face it, like on this last tour, I mean, I normally do my merchandise, like you said, myself all the time.
Right.
But when I got on this tour with Benediction Jungle Ride Master,
Yeah.
we spoke about it in the beginning, and the boss said to me, "Oh, well, you can do your merch." And then when I got there, the boss said, "Oh, you're going to have a merch guy." And obviously, the merch gentleman, we talked to each other, met each other, and he said, "Paul, they have so much merch. Why don't you go ahead and do your own merch?"
Right.
Because Jungle Rod had like 20 different motives.
Right.
Benediction maybe 10, not so many.
Right. Right.
And that was really difficult. So I actually did him a favor and he did me a favor. I didn't have to pay the merch fee.
Right.
So I made more money. But when you get on these bigger tours, you usually have to pay a merchandiser, and that does take a bite out of the money, especially okay, Master, a few people know the band, So the point, that's a joke. So the point is that I sold a lot of merch.
Yeah.
And even if he would have done my merch, I still would have sold a lot of merch, but I sold a lot more merch because I got the opportunity and I was standing there.
Exactly.
So everybody would come over for their photograph and buy two or three shirts and a CD and an LP and a hat and my underwear.
Yeah,
Just
of
a joke.
course.
Yeah, not really, but
But
I'm just saying that really worked out well for me.
of course.
And on most tours in the past, that was how I also did it. You know, if you can do it that way.
Right.
I realize that a lot of bands are paying to play,
Mm.
and then they're paying the merchandiser, and oh, that's got to be difficult. I watched that many times. And
Yeah.
actually, when I was a merchandiser, let's say for the Brookshine tours in the past,
Right.
it got to a point where I stopped charging the bands, you know,
Right.
because I knew I was going to sell a shitload of master merchandise,
Right.
and there'd be two or three support bands that would be paying to get onto the tour, and
Right.
I would let them do their merch, and I would do their merch during their show and give
Sure.
them the money and take no percentage,
Sure.
because after a while I felt like it's a waste of time trying to take money from these guys. They're struggling their asses off. Let
Right.
them have their own money, and let's hope they sell a few more pieces,
Sure. Of course. Hey,
That was my attitude after a few years of doing it. I was like, when I was working for other bands, okay, I take the 15%. But a lot of times even the support bands, I wouldn't take anything from because they're selling like one shirt or two shirts. And I'd be like, you guys can keep it. It's okay.
and look, that's something you brought up something that I've been a part of buy on tours, or I've TM tours that had buy on bands on the tour. And I honestly don't think it's a good deal. I mean, I know a lot of younger bands think it's going to be this big break for them. But in the end,
Yeah,
I,
I
I,
know,
I just
but
don't think it
it's
is.
not a big break. It's better to do it yourself the hard way
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
rock and roll, play the underground clubs and keep going and try and get local support slots or whatever, you know?
Sure. Sure.
I mean,
And
that's what we did back in the day, you know? I don't know.
yeah, well, look, when I had Tim Scott's band Methane, was out with Massacre in 2023, and I know Tim won't care. They were a buy-on band on the tour. And I would
Right.
go and look, Methane was killing it every night. I mean, they were the first band every night. They were a thrash band on a tour with two death metal bands, and they were killing it every night. They were winning over the crowd every night. But you know what? In the end, they didn't really gain anything out of the tour. And I mean, Tim will tell you that himself. There was no real benefit for that tour. I mean, they sold a little bit of merchandise here and there, and maybe a couple more people know the band name, but in the end, they didn't really get anything out of it except for going out and having fun with some friends on tour in the summer. You know what I
Which is
mean?
what happened with a lot of bands on the tours over the years that when I was working for the company, for example.
Right.
It was like paying for a holiday,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
And there were some shows where there were no people, or 10 people, so we'd just make a party. Well, it's
Sure.
difficult back in the day,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And
And
the other thing I want to talk about, the other thing I want to talk about is a sound engineer.
oh yeah,
Now
there
that
you
can
go.
be expensive as well.
Yes.
That can be expensive as well. So for these younger bands to think about it, now I'm going to talk about a sound engineer in a minute here, but I wrote it down so I didn't forget and screw it up. But point is that Master maybe only had a sound engineer once or twice in our career, to be honest with you,
Right.
because I didn't want to pay all this extra money for a sound engineer. I thought that, and many people think this, and sometimes I'm right, is that, when you go to a club, the guy that's been running the club for 20 years usually knows how to get a good sound. I'm not saying every time.
It's
I'm saying we've
true.
gotten fucked before. I agree.
Yep.
We've gotten fucked
Yep.
before. We even got fucked one time on the Napalm Death tour, and the guy was even fucking with Napalm Death. It was a shitty monitor system in a big venue, and the guy was a dick to
Right.
them too, not just me.
Sure, sure.
But what
Yeah,
I'm
it
just saying
happened.
is that it is that many times the club sound engineers know what they're doing,
Right.
so you don't have to pay an expensive, ridiculous amount as the support band
Sure.
to a sound engineer.
Right.
A lot of times you can rely on the club. Now, I'll say I have to admit that on the last tour, on the one with Benediction, Jungle Rat, and Master, we paid Eric,
Right.
and lucky for me, he gave me a discount, a reasonable discount compared to the other bands. And
Right.
that was only because I told him the truth that we weren't getting a lot of money on the tour. And when he saw the number, he knew what I meant.
Sure.
And obviously, the money that I paid him came out of my cut. You
Right.
know, I
Right.
still paid my guys a decent fee, and I took a cut and gave it to Eric, and it was definitely worth it. So don't get me wrong
Sure.
there.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'm just saying, for younger bands, you can use the club guy.
Yeah. Agreed.
Luckily Eric was there for me, and he did a great job. So boo, here, Eric. Of course,
Yeah. I
if
mean,
you
look,
get him, you're lucky.
yeah, I mean, look, Eric is a great fucking sound engineer. You know what I
Yeah, if
mean?
you're lucky to get that guy and you can afford him, take him.
Yeah.
That's a,
Yeah,
that's a.
of
All
course.
right, Eric, a plug for you because it's true. It's true, but I'm just trying to say is that for many years we couldn't afford one at all. So you can you
Right.
can actually go out and play music without a sound engineer
Yeah.
unless you can afford a guy.
Well, and look, I think the one I've only seen Benediction, I think, do one show without Eric, and that was the one up in Schwerin that had the worst sound ever, only because it was some young kid that was maybe 17 years old, and I don't know if he'd ever even seen a PA system. And it
Yeah,
was
but
just
this happened to me before. I know that they're like, oh, we send you our new guy, and you're like,
exactly
oh,
right.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I understand.
but that doesn't happen often. That is the exception to the rule. Nine times out of 10.
But wait a minute. Now this is where I'm going to get in trouble here.
Oh, what happened?
On that big Dutch festival, what was that one called?
Oh,
The big
Stonehenge?
house. Yeah, Stonehenge.
Yeah,
They had a couple young guys that were having a hard time dialing in the guitar and the vocal on the stage,
no shit.
and I was a bit shocked by that.
That that
Yeah.
is that is that is that's pretty rare for a
Eric
Dutch
was out in
festival.
the audience. Yeah, don't get me wrong. He did fine out there, but we talked about after the show, and he understood. The guys were having trouble setting up the monitors, the stage guys, getting the monitor mix. And Of course, I was getting pissed. I started yelling at them before we started playing. I wasn't going to start until they got a reasonable mix in the monitors.
Right.
So even at this huge festival, which I'm burning them right now, I had that
They'll be,
problem.
they'll be
The
okay.
guys seemed like they didn't really know what they were doing, and that kind of pissed me off. In
Yeah.
the end, okay, it wasn't too bad. There was only a little bit of ringing on the PA on the stage, which should not have been there at all.
Right.
Imagine that. Huge
Right.
festival like that. I'm out there playing, kicking ass, and there's a little bit of noise, buzzing coming out of the fucking monitor. The echo, reverb and
That's
echo,
crazy.
noisy. I was like, man, what the fuck? I
Wow.
looked at the guy after two songs, man. Get rid of that fucking noise. What the fuck are you doing? I think I said it right on stage, yo.
Sure.
And then we kept playing.
Yeah, of course.
So this can happen. So
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. This can
Yeah.
happen.
And it's yeah.
This time I don't care about what I said right there, yo. You don't have to
That's
do any create. You don't have to do any creative editing. That really
uh
happened, yo. And I thought that
no,
was kind of lame, yo. I thought it was
no,
kind of lame, yo. Come on.
it happened, but that's you know what I mean. You even said it though. I mean that's pretty rare, especially when it comes to the big festivals in Europe. Normally, the big festivals in Europe have pretty good, they have their shelves pretty squared a fucking away, and
Oh, I had there's another one.
oh
The Metal
no,
Fren yeah, the Metal Frenzy Festival.
really?
Same thing. Same thing. I got on the stage and it took the guy like four songs to get it mixed through the monitors. And I just thought, man, okay, they treated us well. Don't get
Right,
me wrong.
right.
We had a day off. The guy even put us up in a hotel on the day off until we went to
Awesome.
another festival. They were great people.
Awesome. Yep.
But again, disappointment. I'm on stage. I have a great sound engineer out there, Laka. He he'll be doing the 6 Feet Under tour coming up again. He's a great guy. I used to work for years. I worked with him, When
Right,
I worked with Brookstein, he did sound for everybody.
right.
But so he was doing a great sound out there. But same thing. Maybe two songs it took before I could hear the vocal and the bass. All that was coming through my monitors was the guitar, no drums, and the guitar full blast. Well, again, this was another big festival, and it looked like these young guys really didn't know what they were doing, and it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I don't care. You don't have to edit it.
No,
Whatever. That's
I
life.
won't.
You
And
know, we did a good show anyway, and the people liked it, but we had a crappy time slot and shitty stage guys, and that's it. That's the reality. They didn't know what they were doing, and they were probably young and new, and we had a bad position maybe, and that's why they did that. Maybe I don't know,
yeah,
but
but
whatever. We got paid. We did good. We had a blast, and they were nice to us. Just I expect the stage guys to know what they're doing when they're doing the stage monitors, and sometimes they don't.
right, right. And but look, you're also professional enough to know that, look, you've been doing this back a long time to the point where, I mean, I'm sure at your first shows you didn't even have monitors. I mean, I know
Oh,
I didn't know what monitors were till I came to Europe. I mean, most of the American shows I'd ever played in clubs, man, there was no monitors. You know,
yeah.
it was, but you've been doing this long enough to know that fucking it doesn't do any good. And I've seen young bands do this sometimes. They'll get up there and they'll start yelling at the sound guys and they'll stop playing and shit. And look, I get it. Say something, but in the end, by not playing and sitting there making a big scene out of this, out of the whole situation, you're not making anything better, and it's not going to change anything. You know what I mean?
But I've known that when you get to be in your 60s, you're getting known to have a discussion. But I never stop a song in the middle of the song. We keep playing
Right,
just
sure.
between the songs. Hey, dude, can you do something about that buzzing? Please get rid of that. And then we're going to the next song, of course.
Right.
And you hope they do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But
It's
I've had some problems over the years, and it can be a problem. And these are the local guys, and they don't know what they're doing, and whatever. Okay, but like you said, the show must go on. You got to play.
yeah, of
You
course.
can't talk for 10 minutes about it. I don't do that, but I've been known to cuss people out. Hey, dipshit, get rid of that noise, and then start playing again.
Sure.
You
Hey,
know.
and look, you do something too that I don't know if a lot of people really know it, but when you came here and you were playing shows in America and Europe, you had two different bands.
Oh yeah, and that now you brought that up. I just read something this morning.
Oh no.
The Epiphany of Hate album has I don't know how many years, whatever. It's I don't know if it's 15 years or whatever, 18. I forget what it said. I don't care. I don't follow it.
Right.
But whatever. Somebody put it up there, and the guy said, "Oh, he puts out record albums, really good albums, but man, he changes the lineup every year." and I wrote the guy, hey, dude, I had the same lineup who recorded that Epiphany of Hate. I said, for 16 years.
Right.
So I don't, I said that was the longest master lineup ever. I
Right.
said, I don't know where you get your information from, but it's certainly not the truth. But
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't go into detail, telling them I'm waiting for them to answer me.
of
I didn't go
course.
into detail about, yeah, I've got a US lineup. Yeah, I've got a European lineup, whatever. I didn't go into that. Whether that's true, that doesn't mean you're breaking up and changing your lineup every day. It means you're a
No,
professional.
but look, and I have this conversation with Cam always. And I mean, look, it's basically the same thing with you. I mean, when people come to see Master, they're coming to see Paul fucking Speckman. When they go to see Death Strike, they're coming to see Paul Speckman. When they go to see Massacre, they're going to see Cam Lee.
Exactly.
In the end, and I know this sounds shitty to people, and you can see it as you want, but this is the you guys are going to see the voice. You're going to see the voice of Master. You're going to see the voice of Massacre. It doesn't matter who the fucking band is, as long as the band is
Well, there
fucking
you go.
good.
Well, how about Motorhead, for example?
There you
You're
go.
going to see Lemmy.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying he may have had a few lineup changes, not a bunch, but
No.
he had a few lineup changes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you knew it was going to be Lemmy. And speaking of which, when I saw him with Brian Robertson in the third show, or maybe it was the first show, probably the third show. I don't remember. I have to look it up.
Right.
But an early show with Brian Robertson didn't know how the songs went, and Lemmy had to kick his foot or step on him, and he would do the change. And
Sure.
they were playing mostly cover songs on that show as well because Brian Robertson didn't know the Motorhead set yet. Fast Eddie had just quit, and now they have a tour, and Lemmy refused to uh, to split up. This was before they recorded Another Perfect Day.
Right. Right.
But this was embarrassing. No, but again, you had to let it go because hey, everyone was there to see Lemmy. Me too.
Yeah, of course. It didn't matter. But look, by you having two different versions of the band, you're able to tour more cheaply in Europe and then in the States because you're not flying a band back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
It's that shit
And
gets
then
expensive.
somebody was just arguing online from a famous band. I forget which band, but anyway, they canceled the tour and they said it was like $10,000 for the work permits. Well, I can't afford that anyway. That's why I have an American band. You think I'm going to pay $10,000 for work permits to bring my guys over there to play for a month and make a little bit of money and come back broke?
Yeah, no,
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 no way.
no.
It's better for me to just fly there by myself, no work permits. I'm an American, so they let me in. Hello, have a good, nice to see you back. Have a good time, sir. What? Well, thank you.
Sure, of course. And you're not bringing your merch with you, correct? You're getting your merch stateside then.
Yeah, I get the merch stateside just like I make the merch here.
Right, right,
Like this tour coming up in Brazil, I probably won't bring very much with me either. I'll probably bring just a little bit, maybe 25 shirts and some CDs compressed with no cases and
sure,
try and sneak them in. And hopefully I'll be okay.
right,
And I'll probably make some more merch in Brazil for the tour coming up for me. But
sure.
that's what I usually do nowadays. I don't bring it with me. It's better to make it there. Okay, sometimes they don't check anything, but you never know if they're going to check it. It's a
Yeah,
50-50 all the time.
of
Someone's
course.
having a shit day or not. And, back in the day, I used to bring the shit back and forth, sure, but
Right.
not anymore. It's not worth the risk.
No.
Yeah,
And the other thing I always say is South America, they have such a thriving bootleg scene when it comes to merch that, most of the times you'll go outside the venue and you'll be able to get a master shirt for probably half the price you're paying for it, right?
exactly. But better to just make merch over there. That's what I do usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I think we have like 7 shows, so I'm probably not going to make much. I'm thinking maybe 100 shirts. Maybe that's too much. I have to think about it. Maybe 75.
Right.
You
Right.
know.
Right.
And
But
speaking of merch, another thing now that I need to speak with my guy in Brazil about is when I was in Brazil 2 years ago, they're all using credit cards now. You
yes.
have to have the credit card machine
Yes.
hooked up to a bank account
Yes.
and screw around with that. So I have to talk to him about that because, that's a big problem too. I
That's
don't
gonna
like
be
having that paper
I,
trail.
I can't imagine that. Paul Speckman having to do stuff, taking merch and stuff over his cell phone with the chip.
They had a special machine for me on the tour 2 years ago,
Did
and
they?
that's how it worked. Yeah, special machine. It was like only a Brazilian tour, mainly a Brazilian tour. We did Colombia and Chile, but mainly Brazil, mostly Brazilian shows. And yeah, 90% of the exchanges was a credit card thing. So I had a machine. So you're right. You had me doing it. You would have been laughing. You had me doing this machine for like an hour straight. Boom, boom, boom. Next one, boom, put in your number, boom. I really wasn't into it. I had to do it and I figured out how to do it and it worked.
Right.
But I'm hoping that it's not still going to be the same. And if it is, I don't think I'll be selling merch
Sure. Sure. And
this time. I don't know. We'll see.
but
Again, they're screwing everything up. Like we were talking about before we started this interview. The governments are fucking everything up again.
yeah, no question about that. It's going to be hard. I mean, and especially with what's going on in South America at the moment. Um, Look, you never want to think that as an American, and especially as an American in a band, that you have to be careful or extra careful because of the political situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You never want to end up being the target just because you're an American band touring. And I
And
mean,
that bugs the shit out of me, yo. You
yeah,
know that.
yeah, yeah.
That's a good example. You said when the Four More Years of Terror album was out,
Right.
that album was basically about George Bush.
Sure.
4 More Years of Terror.
Sure.
And during that time, I was on tour doing merchandise for Dismember. It was in 2004, and they strip searched me because I was the only American on the bus.
No shit.
That guy Singh was on the bus with the turban back
Right,
in the
right,
day. Met
right.
him. I don't know where he is now. He used to be. He's in all the videos, live videos and stuff. He had a big turban and a big beard. Sing. He and I were doing the tour managing together. This Dismember tour, cold tour, and whatever. He was sleeping, and everybody was sleeping. And they only took the American guy out to strip search him at the Swiss-French border with only me. You know,
Oh, fuck me.
only because of Bush. And
Yeah.
so what I did is I stood there with a smile on my face, and can you see me? Yeah, I
Yeah.
stood there with a smile on my face. I strip searched, and then I turned around. Hey, you like what you see? And those two French guys freaked out and said, "Oh, you can put your pants on, sir. You can go." That was my routine. I was so pissed off. I just had to do that to him, yo.
Yeah.
I smoked him, yo.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
said, "Go, put your pants on. You can go." They were freaked. They freaked, yo. They
Sure.
freaked out. I smoked them, yo.
Of
I
course.
was embarrassed that they were strip searching me as it was, but I
Of
made him pay
course.
for that, you
If
know.
hey, if you're in a bad situation, you can't make it worse, right? So fuck it.
And they let me go, of course, and I got on the bus and we drove into France, yo.
Right.
And
Right.
that was the end of that. But that was shitty, yo. But again, it was because I was an American, and I said that to my wife, you know. I said, I hope there's not going to be any problems in Europe in the future again
Right.
because of the political situation.
Sure. Yeah. There's,
So let's hope I hope it doesn't end up like this again, you know.
yeah. And
I don't
thank,
want to go into this big situation here. I don't want to talk about this whole thing right now, but let's just say that I hope I'm not going to get treated the same way as I did when Bush was causing problems, you know.
of
He's
course.
a government, you know, and all nations are problems with Jesus. I don't need this shit again, you know.
Yeah, of
I
course.
hope things get better, you know.
Yeah, me too.
I hope it calms down, things get better. I'll leave it at that, you know.
Yeah, of course, man. Of
So
course.
let's get back to
Hey,
touring.
so let's talk about this. We were talking about this before we started recording. Um, the days of doing clubs is probably coming to an end for a lot of bands. Do you agree?
Yeah, we're having a hard time getting shows in clubs. I mean, we can get some. There's some clubs that are going to be great forever.
Right.
You know, like that one in Diens in Belgium.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Fuck. Is it
Cat's
Hell?
place. I can't think of her name, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
Cat's place. You know,
It's that motorcycle club place.
it's a little place.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
It's like
about.
100 people is sold out, and it
Yes,
sells out every time.
right. I don't know.
Cat is the owner. I can't think of the name of it right now. I have to look it up. You know, but anyway, um, that place will be around forever. There's always going to be some clubs
Right,
forever,
right,
but to do a tour, you need more than one club. You can't just fly out there for one show. I don't like doing that so much. Okay, it's different from the festival, you
right.
know?
Yeah,
This is okay, and the fee's okay, but
right.
you can't fly to every city to do a show. And that's going to cause a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think the future is going to be difficult.
Yeah, and that's something, a lot of people don't understand is that the fees for a festival are sometimes two, three, four, five times more than what you're going to make for a club because of the fact that you have more people at a festival. So the pricing for a festival is completely different than a club. And
Yeah, exactly.
surprisingly, in the old days, you know, everybody got guarantees when they did clubs. But it's getting to the point that unless you got a package tour, people want to do door deals. And obviously, if it's you, like, so, we'll use this as an example. I'm, booking some dates for you and Massacre together. We discuss that. We know what we can pull, even on a bad night that can make it
Yeah.
worthwhile. You know what I mean? But if you don't have a legacy band or two legacy bands together, you're not going to be able to come over here and tour because everyone's like, "Oh, we're going to come do festivals." Well, that's cool. Festivals used to be, say, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, a lot of countries have cut out Sundays because they don't want festivals on Sundays. So they move
Yeah.
everything to, some festivals are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Most of them are Friday, Saturday now.
Yeah,
So
sure.
you have 5 days in the middle where you've got nothing and you're stuck here. So you can get a hotel if you want, or you can go and try
Yeah.
and do clubs. But a lot of times, what it's going to cost you to do clubs in those 4 or 5 days, you're going to end
Not
up
going to be worth it.
the money you made at the festival or make at the next festival is actually going to probably pay for most of your transportation you did the 5 days before.
Exactly. And that's, you know, again, like going for America is the same place, is the same problem. You're going to go to America and play one festival, and I don't know how well that's going to work out either. I'm not really into that too much anymore. I
Yeah.
realize that some of these bands, um, will go for this stuff. They will fly to America or fly to Europe for one festival or whatever, but it's just that's nothing for me. I guess I'm too old, maybe that's what it is. But I
No,
guess when you can do anything, But seriously, I don't want to mention any names of the bands, but there are some bands out here I know that will fly to Europe for one festival, and I just think that's ridiculous. I can't do it anymore, man.
no, no. And I mean, I don't know how they do it. I don't see the financial gain behind it. I mean, I know some bands, we have friends that have higher guarantees, but still,
Yeah, of
I,
course,
I mean,
lots of higher guarantees, but still,
yeah, but I mean,
but
still,
still,
so the flights right now, man, I mean, like, moving a four-piece band from America to Europe, any European country, and back this summer alone, coming up for 2026. I'll tell you the flight cost right now, round trip, you're looking at 9 to 10,000.
that's what I mean. It's ridiculous. It's
You
just
know
too
what I mean?
much money.
And it look,
Yeah,
depending on the size of your band, that can be 2 to 3 festival dates just to pay for your fucking flight costs.
yeah,
It doesn't, and I get it. Look, a lot of these younger bands like to do it. And, I always say they come home with the, memories and pocket lint. That's what they're going to get after the tour.
yeah.
Memories and pocket lint. And I
It's
get
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're,
It's true.
they're cool. They get to go home and say, yeah, we played European festivals. And I don't know, maybe when I was 18, 19, I would have done the same thing. Of course,
Yeah,
when I was 18 or 19, there was only Dynamo, Fuck Commerce, and Castle Donington, or I think it was
yeah. It
still
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like it is today. I agree. Today there's a million festivals. Really, a lot,
there is a lot. But I mean that's also a great thing for like you because you're able to capitalize on that because you're able to do festivals every summer and never hit the same festival more than 2 years in a row because a lot of festivals don't want that. They don't like having bands repeat years. But there are so many festivals now that you're able to play, say, 15 to 20 on a good summer, 30 festivals maybe, and never hit the same one twice.
Yeah,
I
this
mean,
is true. So that is a good thing.
yeah, it
But getting
is.
back to what you were saying about the club dates, that's difficult,
Yeah.
But I will say with the 6 Feet Under, I was talking to you earlier about that, how they had like I think maybe 8 or 9 festivals. Well, now they have like 17 shows. So for them, but again, like you said, it's a legacy band. That's why.
Yeah. Yeah.
And good for them. No disrespect to Chris or anybody.
Of
I'm
course,
just saying. I was saying that to you. How are they going to do that with 8 festivals in 1 month? Now it's gone up to 17, maybe even 20 shows. So
Yeah,
they're going to be all right now.
of
Good for
course.
them.
And look, we both know that those festivals, especially because you have Chris and Jack together again,
Yeah.
they're going to have a higher guarantee. So those festival dates are going to carry them over, even with the club dates in between, even if they have, even if the costs are up for transportation and everything, those festivals are basically going to pay for their European run, you know.
Yeah.
And
Which is fine.
yeah, and I'm happy for them. I mean, and that's the thing, some people always see it as a competition between bands, but I think once you get to a certain age and stuff, you're just happy to
Oh,
see people out here still doing it, right?
exactly. I'm happy that they're doing it.
I mean,
And
it's
somebody I know is going to be playing for them too, which is also cool. We'll just leave it at that. But,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I'm
it is.
sure, I don't know if it's been announced yet, so I'll leave it like that.
Yeah, no, no,
But
no.
I'm just saying that, yeah, I'm happy for them. Whatever, good. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, and
More
it's
power to them, yo.
yeah, but the one thing is as I'm booking bands at festivals this summer, there are a lot more festivals that are almost completely European based bands now. You have a lot of festivals. I mean, obviously, when I'm talking about festivals, I'm not talking about the big festivals, the Wackens, the
No,
Hellfest, the
no,
Outfest.
no, no.
Yeah, none of the
Which
destination
I've never
festivals.
played, by the way. I've never played any of those ones.
You've never played Wacken.
Never played Hellfest either. I've never been invited to any of those great festivals.
I don't understand that,
Yeah,
Paul.
me too. I don't know who's got a burr up their ass or whatever, but somebody does. Because
Oh,
Master doesn't play any of those big ones, yo. None of those Dutch festivals either. We haven't played any of them, you know.
have you played Alcatraz?
Never, never got any of those ones, you know.
Uh,
Interesting.
we could. I think we need to make some changes, Paul. That's all good. Anything can happen. Anything can fucking
Okay,
happen. Hey,
we'll leave it at
yeah,
that.
exactly. But I mean, you do great at these, medium to smaller festivals. You know,
Sure.
and you're a staple at those festivals. And I mean, I think a lot of times, because a lot of those festivals, you'll headline or play second to last. Whereas, a lot of times, I mean, fuck, dude, those big festivals, shit. I mean, they could rave at you and have you playing at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, but you're still going to sell merch, and people are still going to enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, but that's something we should talk about. How many festivals have you played at? Just a ballpark figure where you haven't been able to sell your own merch.
Oh, actually, in the last few years, only about maybe two,
Right,
and
right,
maybe only twice it's happened.
right,
And the last two times, I just didn't sell much. I said, "Fuck it."
right. So is that is
But
that
on the other hand, but I was doing the math, like, and oh, you can probably still make some money. I just thought it was kind of crappy because they really are stroking it. They take like 15 or 20% for the sales,
Yep,
and then they take another 15 or 20% for taxes.
yep,
So they're taking like 40% of your fee, and then you have to look at how much you paid for the shirt.
yep.
Like say maybe the shirts are going up now. They're like 10 euros a shirt now,
That's what your
9 euros
cost
a shirt.
is.
Yeah, they went up now. So you look at that and you're selling a shirt for 25, you're not making a lot of money.
Nope.
So these last few festivals, a couple of bigger ones, I just said, fuck it, I'm not selling any merch. I don't care.
Right,
You
right.
know? I don't care. I said, fuck it. And
But
then I'll
think,
go to a small festival and I'll do 3,000 euros in merch, smile. And they won't take anything. They're cool, you know. I don't know.
yeah, we've had.
Sometimes, but
Yeah, well,
go
no,
ahead.
I mean, look, I've been on the road with Massacre as tour manager when we've hit some of those festivals, and we've done it both ways. There've been festivals where we've said, okay, fine, they're not going to take the taxes, they're just going to take the 15%. And it's a kick in the
That's what I
ball.
mean. Lately, I've been reading that in the contracts, and they don't just do the 15%. But go
They're,
ahead.
they're taking the taxes too now. And that's something that's changing now when it comes to when you go to these festivals and they're forcing you to basically use their merchandise people is uh, younger bands need to read the fine print because, like you said, it's not just the 15 or 20% they're taking for selling the shirts. they're going to hit you with the fucking government tax on top of that. With like, if it's Germany, then it's 19%. So,
And the other thing that's crazy that you mentioned it, I just was thinking about too, and they also don't want to pay cash anymore.
right.
So you're going to pay all that money to those people. They're going to do cash there,
Yeah, of
but they're
course.
going to send it to you digitally. So they're going to follow your trail.
Yep.
The government knows you sold this many shirts. That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I'm really not into it, dude. I think it may be a problem for me in the future.
Yeah, I mean it's not just that way with merch. It's coming to be that way with playing shows too. I mean, I'm not
Yeah, I
I'm not
agree.
I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but I mean, I know bands that have toured lately and had to pay taxes for the first time ever coming to Europe. And each individual country has a different, people don't realize that, a lot of Americans don't. Each country in Europe has a different tax rate. So like, Germany can be anywhere from fucking for a musician, anywhere from 25 to 35%, depending on how big your band is.
Yeah,
And I mean that's something that bands have never had to pay before, just like you said with bringing in merch. Maybe you get caught, maybe you don't get caught, right? Well, it's coming to the point now, and I've seen some expense reports after tours that, the booking agency will charge bands each individual country's taxes. And
yeah.
that's something that a lot of younger bands don't
But
realize.
I remember back in the day when Nuclear Blast would charge me like for paper clips and stuff and
Fuck
paper.
off. Are you serious?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but yeah, they would charge you for paper clips and paper and thin pins and it's a long time ago, but I remember that.
Hey, when was
They
the
charge you for everything.
Did you ever get tour support from a label?
Yeah,
Did Nuclear
but we
Blast?
had to pay, but we had to pay it back.
Right, yeah, yeah, of course.
We had to pay it back with sales. Of course, yeah, we got tour support in the beginning. Nuclear Blast was great in the beginning, believe me. And Nuclear Blast was great in the end.
Right,
Not anymore because the guy who ended up being great sold the company.
right.
But he was a problem for many years for me. And then all of a sudden he had a change of heart
Yeah,
because of a friend of mine and life changed for me, and that was a great thing.
sure.
So I never talk bad about Nuclear Blast anymore. Okay, except for the paper clips, maybe, but that's a long time ago. That's a funny memory. I was just thinking about it. Paper clips. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, labels charge you for everything, man. It's
Yeah.
probably worse now. I don't know. I don't read the fine print anymore. It's
Oh
a
no.
different thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's different when you get to my age. I'm just hanging in there trying to play the shows and trying to make some money and stay alive and smile and you know
Well, yeah, I mean,
exercising and that's where I'm at.
but Paul, realistically, man, you are gonna be so let's say 45 and up. So 45 and younger. A lot of those bands, unless you're in that 1%, they'll never know what it means to get tour financing from a label. And yes, you had to pay it back through sales and stuff, but at least a lot of
Yeah,
times that money was there to actually be able to help you start a tour or kick off a tour. You know what I mean?
yeah.
These younger bands will never know what that is anymore.
No,
And
that's
that's
true.
a lot of that stuff. I mean, I'm glad, and I'm sure you are too, that we got to see the business when it was the way it was and not the way it is now. Because I can't imagine starting off as a younger band today, what motivation you have anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, you could throw toilet paper rolls on the stage and dance around. If you have a gimmick, you're huge.
You have to have a gimmick, and that's
Just leave it. I'll leave it at that
no,
because I don't want to go into it. But
of
you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Anyway,
I mean, but look, man, it's
I
much
really, I thought, being heavy was what we do, but not today. It's not. It's not heavy enough.
no,
Not heavy
no,
enough what we're doing.
no.
It's more like circus acts are what's happening now.
Yeah,
All you
people,
got to do is look at all these German bands and American bands. Circus acts are where it's at, dude. You
yeah.
have to be a circus clown to sell records now, dude.
Look, you got to have a gimmick. You got to dress up like a Viking. You gotta get crowds to do shit that we never in a million years. Look, man, in the late 80s, early 90s, you think you're gonna got motherfuckers to sit on the ground and row like a fucking boat? People would have got on stage and punched you in the fucking face if you asked them to do that
I
shit. You know
don't
what I
know
mean?
what's happening, dude. It's a different world today. I guess I'm old.
Promoters ask me what some of my band's followings are on social media. How many numbers do they have? Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Can you imagine asking a legacy band, "Hey, so how many people follow you on Facebook or Instagram?" When
When
you're
they ask me,
trying,
it should. Well, they ask sometimes they ask me how many people were at the show or whatever. Of course I'm gonna lie. 300.
it was sold out. I've never seen that many people in that
Yeah.
fucking club.
No, but like sometimes, I get a question like that, they want to do a Spanish tour and how many people were at the shows and we did like a Spanish tour maybe 2 years ago or whatever, 3 years, maybe 3 years ago. There was at least, let's say, 150 to 200 people every day, even Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday during the week. I was shocked that people came out every day
Sure.
in Spain, except for maybe one day was bad. There
Right.
was nobody there, five
Right.
people or something. I was shocked by that too. Why did the guy even do the show? But anyway, they treated us well. But
Sure.
I'm just shocked by that. But I'm just saying that, you know, they ask you how many people were at the last tour, or how many the record companies. How many records did you sell your last record? I don't know. I'm gonna lie to you, of course.
Of
I'm trying to
course
get
I'm
a new
gonna.
record deal. Oh, 10,000. I don't know. Why did they
Well,
bother with that shit? They didn't bother with that shit when they were signing me years ago. They weren't asking me dumb questions.
well, hey, and that's something too, man. Playing Spain, for me personally, I think playing in the East, so Eastern Europe, and or fucking down in the Baltic region, is much better, and you get a better turnout than Germany, Belgium, and Holland, because I think those countries they get it all the time. Bands
Well, that's
always
what I'm
come.
saying though. When you hop on that plane to Spain,
Oh,
the what we did one tour for 10 days, and then the following, let's say 2 years later, we did one tour for 17 shows, and there were people at the shows every day except one day on that 17-day tour. A
right,
Wednesday was shitty, but the
sure,
rest of it, even Monday and Tuesday, you had over 100 people in each place. I was shocked by it. It was
yeah,
like the old days, like
yeah.
the old days.
Oh, that's why I was saying
So
fucking
Spain and Portugal, there's still a scene there.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
like South America, you can still go to Spain and Portugal. That's for sure. For
Well,
young bands out there, get a tour there. It's still going on.
yeah, Croatia,
Oh, we
Massacre.
had a great show in
Yeah,
Croatia last year. I couldn't believe it. It was
dude,
packed.
Massacre had a Tuesday night show in fucking Croatia, fucking sold out. I mean,
This,
it was like 275, I think it
this
was.
is what I mean. We had something similar to that
Yep,
during the week,
yep,
Croatia. Sure. I think it
yep.
was a Thursday for us, but whatever.
Yeah, Eastern European countries, bands always want to come and they're like, "Oh, we want to go to Germany." The Germans are so used to it. The metalheads here are so.
Yeah.
I don't want to say they're pampered, but they're pampered. They always have these tours and shit. Go to
There's,
countries where
I
people
think a
don't
better
tour.
word, not even pampered, the word, good word would be spoiled,
Yes. There
right?
you go. Yes, they're
They're
spoiled. They
spoiled.
are. They are because no one goes.
There's like four shows a week in Berlin, for example.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. And that's why go to European countries. If you're a younger band and you want to tour, go east. Romania's
Yeah, go
opening up.
east. Oh, Romania. Romania is always great. Come on, dude.
Yep.
We
Yep.
had some crap like a Wednesday or Thursday in Romania or whatever, and you got freaking 300 people. It was shocking,
Have,
sometimes.
have you played Bulgaria yet?
Yeah, last tour, I don't remember how many people, but it was packed, of course. I don't remember what day it was on.
No,
I
no.
don't have all
Yeah,
pulled up,
yeah.
but yeah, we played
No.
Bulgaria. Bulgaria was great. Really was excellent.
Yep.
You know?
And that's the thing younger bands got to look at too, is, I always tell people when people are like, "Oh, where should we tour? We want to come to Germany." Don't go to Germany. Go to countries that you don't see a lot of your friends' bands
Go to
playing.
Czech, go to
Oh,
Slovakia,
check.
go to Budapest or Hungary or whatever. Go to Bosnia, go to Serbia, go to Croatia. Like you said, these
Yeah,
are great places for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I mean,
Romania, great places.
the amount of festivals you guys have in Czech now is almost as much as what fucking it's probably even almost more than what the Germans have now, man. You guys have a shit ton
Yeah,
of fucking festivals.
yeah. And the other thing is like for Czech, they're asking me for single shows too lately, which
Oh
is
wow.
fine too.
Yeah, of
Come and
course.
play a single festival, and we're doing like 4 or 5 of those a year now, which is extra income. It's fine,
Of
you
course. Of
know. It's not
course.
like a ton of cash, but it's not far away at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's what I was getting to.
Like for example, to drive, like for example, to drive 25 minutes for 2,000 euros is not a problem for me.
Right. Sure.
Sometimes it's drive 40 minutes for 1,000 euros. I'll do it. It's a 40-minute drive. You understand? It's really close.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
you know what I mean?
yeah, no. And look,
I mean, we're talking about big numbers here, but we're talking
no,
it's close, 40
it's
minute drive and 40 minutes back to what to come home, with 1,000 euros in my pocket with merch or whatever
yeah,
is a great Friday night.
of course,
Yeah.
Paul, you
This is
got
how
it.
I survive,
Well, no. And look, that makes sense. And that's what I try to tell people they don't get it. If you're a European-based band and you have a little bit of a following, you have the opportunity to make more money. It's okay. It's maybe not fucking 6, 7,000 euros fucking shows, but
Oh, whatever.
you put 1,500 to 2,000 shows back together. Do five or six of them in a fucking month. That's more than what most people get paid in a month. You know what I mean?
That's
And
what I mean. Yeah.
do that over the entire fucking year. It only makes sense. And a lot of people just don't get it, man. They think, oh, we need to be doing all these big shows. We need.
And now, I got like Alex and Peter, Peter's like, Paul, can we play a concert in a village next to my town? And it's like a 40-minute drive from here or something. And you know how much is it? Oh, they'll give us food, drinks, and 1,000 euros. I'll take it.
Of course, of course, of
I'll
course.
drive 40. I'll drive 40 minutes for 500 euros plus a little tiny bit of merch, maybe.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's easy money, dude.
Hey,
You
so
know?
there's something I want to talk about real quick before we knock off and
Yes, okay.
people hate hearing stuff. How do you judge the worth of a band? And that's something that I've been battling and I've had conversation with people and I want to do more of these where I'm talking to, my buddies in different bands and people that do merch and stuff. But what a lot of people don't realize is that one of the biggest, I would call it a game that exists in the music business, other than these 1% of bands,
Mhm.
is how do you judge how much a band is worth when you're trying to book a band? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's
I don't know. It's like how do you put that into perspective? It's like, you know, uh, you look at these videos and these shows and festivals all over the world, and there's people wearing Massacre and Master shirts and Benediction shirts. I'm seeing this shit all the time, but
yeah,
that doesn't guarantee you're going to get a good offer for a show. I don't know
right.
how you figure that out.
Right.
And this thing about that festival in Germany that I've been talking to you about for a long time about some guy, and the reason why he doesn't want to give me any money is because he came to somebody's birthday party, in Dresden, and there was like maybe 30 people there. Well, that wasn't my birthday party, and it wasn't like a festival show. It was some guy who invited Master to come and play his birthday,
Right.
and nobody, hardly any of his friends, came to his house for that party.
Of course.
And we played outside to 30 people. And ever since that time, the guy thinks that Master doesn't draw for some reason. Although we're playing festivals and booked all over the world all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how he can't see that and won't offer me any money because of a birthday party. That to me, that's really childish, my friend.
It is. And look, people don't realize, I think some people think, oh, well, you hit on it earlier and you said it perfect. You take care of your band. So you understand that some nights you can be able to get 1,000 euros and drive 40 minutes. Some nights you might be able to get,
Ooh,
2,000 and drive an hour. But you're not like, oh no, fuck. And obviously there is a limit to where you're not going to go below. However, you're constantly making money. And that's what I tell bands all the time. It's cool to have these huge, massive guarantees that you're going to ask for, but eventually
yeah,
if you can't get gigs for that guarantee and you're not willing to budge, you're just fucking yourself. Because for me,
exactly.
and I'm sure it's
Yeah.
the same way for you because you just said it. I would rather make 2,000 euros in my pocket at the end of the night than be sitting at home fucking watching Netflix.
And that doesn't include merch. I'm just talking about the fee.
Yes, and look, we all know Paul's the merch master. I've sat with you at the merch table. I know how
But
much
then
money.
I've had some shows where I don't sell anything. Like, we had
It's
We
a
had a
gamble.
show like maybe 30 minutes from here, and was it again €1,000 guarantee, and it really wasn't far. So I said, okay, we'll do it. And I think we made maybe €20 in March. I sold one
Right.
shirt or something, but it was simple. I was home that night, was in my own bed, and I had a pile of cash on the table. Even though the merch was shit and it didn't work out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Eh,
Let's see a check. They don't have any money. You know, unless you're in a Cedar Stream or, Masters of Rock or one of these big ones. Yeah, okay, but these small village festivals, they don't spend money on Paul Speckmann. They're going to buy shirts from their buddies,
Of
for
course.
cheap.
Of
You know,
course.
no, I
For
mean
cheap.
the local bands.
Yeah, of course.
I understand this. It's okay.
Sure.
But and for that reason, I used to not take those shows, and now I just decided, oh, we take them. It's easy money. It's like pulling, teeth from a can, or like pulling candy from a baby or whatever.
Right.
That whatever.
Sure. Yeah. No. And I mean that's what makes sense. And I see there are more and more legacy bands that are going to start dying off just because of the fact that they're pricing themselves out of fucking festivals. And it makes no sense to me because I mean, fine. At some point we all have to accept that, your band might not be able to headline anymore. But that
Oh,
doesn't mean your band can't make fucking money every night.
whatever. I get a lot of these festivals where we're not headlining at all, but the fee is really good. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. Oh, you're going on at 8 o'clock, or you're going on at 7:30. Okay, we'll be there.
Sure, of course. And I mean
I'm
then
smiling, having a good time, drinking and going to the hotel. Get up in the morning, going, oh fuck, we got to drive home now, 5 hours.
of course. And the
But
nice
we
thing
do
is
it.
if you're playing, let's say, a 5 or 6 o'clock slot, that means you're selling merch before you play. And the biggest thing is you're selling merch after you play, and you still have two
Oh
or three
yeah,
hours of bands playing, right?
you got it.
Yeah.
I clean up in those situations. I just stay there, drink my Jack and Coke, and keep selling until it's time to go. And then sometimes I'm okay. This is now it's not happening. It's time to go. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Pack the shit up.
of
Then
course.
some idiot comes over. Oh man, I need a shirt. Oh, fuck. Really? Okay. You're gonna take that last dollar, of course. It's business, yeah.
Fuck yes. Well, look, man, I'm gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, it's
Paul,
fine.
I appreciate it, man. This has been awesome. I hope
Yeah, me too. I had a good time as usual. Yeah.
look, I hope some people, some
And you
young
don't need to edit out anything. I don't care what these people
nah,
think. I don't give a shit. That
no,
last time was something. That last time was something different.
no, we're good. We're good. We're
Did
there.
that video ever come back out or what? I never
Yes,
saw
it's
it again.
there. It's there.
Okay.
I'll send
All
you the
right.
link.
Okay.
I'll send
Super.
I'll send you the link. So look, folks, I appreciate it. Uh, big thing is if you get a chance to see Master, go out and see Master. I mean, Paul's not only a friend, but he's a fucking legend in this whole business. And there's not going to
He's
be
a
much
legend. He's a legend in his own mind.
his
Yeah, of
own
course.
mind and a lot of other people's fucking minds,
Yeah.
even though they manage to always forget you, you're there. So, Paul, I
You,
appreciate
you know,
it,
so,
brother.
somebody wrote, yeah, just really quick, somebody wrote yesterday that it was the anniversary of Death Strike, the demo. I didn't know that, but
Oh, was it?
whatever. Yeah, yesterday was an anniversary, a long
Hey,
time ago.
real quick though, man, I say that all the time to fucking Cam. The farther we get away from the beginning, the more historians are going to look at it from a factual base. I mean, look, we always looked at it as a personal thing, but there's
Yeah,
a lot of people now that are going to start looking at dates. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's not going to be this, oh, well, the stupid who was first bullshit. It's going to come down to dates. People look at dates now. Like you said,
yeah,
they knew when the Death Strike demo fucking came out. You didn't
yeah.
fucking.
So somebody said this yesterday, and somebody said the Epiphany of Hate was released yesterday too. I don't follow this shit. I don't remember. I don't care. But it still makes you smile when you see it. That's all I'm saying.
Of
If
course,
somebody remembers, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
of course, and that's the nice thing, man, is is that it's getting to the point that people are looking at this more from a history base and less from an emotional base. You know what I mean?
which is better.
Yeah, of course. Because it's going to make all this bullshit that's gone on for years and the blah 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 is going to slowly go away and everything's going to be based off facts and not fucking who is cool anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No
Exactly.
more of that. Who's a handicap medal and hero or whatever. Exactly. All right, let's leave it at that.
Yeah, and we're out of here.
Nice interview, yo.
I appreciate it, Paul.
Oh yeah.